Hey guys, how's it going? AJ here from Mapinu. A new week, a new Monday, 3 p.m. Well, actually a little after 3 p.m. unfortunately, but this is something that sometimes happens. Last episode we were talking about email marketing in general and how to write an engaging email. So, in case you didn't have the chance to watch the last episode or whatever, today we're gonna talk about engaging content in general, which naturally has something to do with email marketing. As you can see here, so we got things like to keep a slender figure, no one can deny. Reach for a lucky instead of a sweet, or a 7 Up commercial here, where they have the youngest of crowds, and naturally other things that are very misogenic anyway, or Cadbury milk chocolate, Nestle's makes the best chocolate, and whatnot. So in general, when we're talking about good content is something that one should always understand about. You should do preliminary research when you want to create the best of content. When we're talking about best of content, we're naturally speaking about things that client want to hear. For example, if we're to talk about an email again, we should be talking about the progress, the struggle one has to find new leads, to find new customers, to do whatever. Even the greatest, like Neil Patel, talk about the fact that they spent a lot of money to buy likes on Facebook and whatnot, like $100,000 or whatever, and it was just not worth it. So when we talk about content in general, whether it be an email, a blog post, or PR piece, we should always think about how succinct and to the point it should be. So when we talk about an email in general, we need to talk about the content itself. It should be short and sweet. You can use emojis in the headline, which is great. Like if you're talking about growth, or so you can put like a tree. Or if you're talking about like launching you to stardom, you can use a rocket or whatever. But when you talk about the content itself, it should be straight to the point. It should talk about things that hurt people, but how you can give them the solution. For example, if you have a client who's a beverage company and they have like a very similar beverage to other companies, you should talk about why people should buy yours. You should talk about how thirsty one feels at the same time. Like for example, all these years Coca-Cola used. Well, this is more of branding, but in general, it's for content. So they were talking about the fact that their clients could hear the bubble sound, and they would immediately understand that it's Coca-Cola. Now, PepsiCo and Mountain Dew, and the Snapple Group in general, they all have some kind of a branding and marketing thing. But when you talk about content, people prefer talking about Coca-Cola because their branding is so strong. So good content and good branding could give you more clients than anything else. Now, for example, good content like a podcast. Why podcast is important? Because it gives you a human voice. It gives you a human feel, that you understand that you're not talking about and talking to some kind of virtual machine, but you talk to a live flesh and blood person. This is exactly what we do here at Epinu. When we talk about the content that we deliver to clients, it has to be something that the client craves. For example, leads. So, for example, I spent decades trying to look for the perfect way to get a lead. This is what people like to hear. They don't want to hear about the fact that you used to work with Microsoft. If you're working with Microsoft, why are you contacting me? Why are you contacting me? Why? That makes no sense. So good content should be for everyone. Now, it also means that you should tone it down. Good content shouldn't be too technical. For example, I had a client back in the day, a couple of years back, we had a client here at Avenue that was super technical and wanted the content to go to technical people. And we explained to that client that if it goes to technical people, that person would just have less clients. If you're looking into expanding your reaches to have a larger market share, you should cater to everyone. This is why we needed to tone down the technical stuff and talk about the benefits of using it. So if you're talking about SEO, you should explain what Black Hat means. Yes, so the people who usually read your blog would perhaps decide to leave your blog. Who cares? Who cares? You're looking into an expansion. An expansion equals more possible clients. Now that was in SEO. Let's talk about monetization in general. So I could write a technical message talking about how a developer should download an SDK, and once downloaded needs to connect all kinds of things inside the app or whatever. Or I could talk about monetization in general and say that we give you a 70-30% rev share, which means that you make money from rewarded videos, you make money from all kinds of ads, like swipes, like all kinds of banners, pop-ups, whatever. So we can talk about something technical, or we can talk about something engaging. Use words, use videos, use all kinds of banners, something that catches the eye. That's part of good content. And it should also be short and sweet. People don't read long articles anymore. So think about Twitter, for example. You only have 140 characters. Okay? So you need to make the best message possible with 140 characters. So clickbaits today are part of supposed to be good content. But naturally, clickbait isn't part of good content because no one likes clickbait. So if you do use provocation, you need to have good content behind it. That's the most important thing. It's part of good branding. It's part of good brand recognition. We were talking about the other day, if marketing and branding are parts of the same whole, or they're different. They're not different. Branding is as important as marketing. If you fail to brand yourself, the only thing you could be counting on is paying money to Facebook, to Google, to Bing, to Yandex, to Naver, to anyone to get leads. Or you can have amazing content and optimized all the time with a good message behind it, and you'll just have people coming all day long. That's the difference. So you can spend $2,500 a month on leads and get maybe 100 or 150, 200 leads. That's it. Or you can have amazing content and have new leads coming every frigging day for the rest of your life. This is the difference between good content and content in general. Now, it's not just about backlinking or whatever, or having like hundreds of different articles or whatever. You don't need hundreds of different articles. You can have a daily one, you can have a weekly one. You can have 3 articles a week, which is what I usually talk to when I talk to brands. I tell them you should have between 3 and 5, and that's about it. Okay? 3 and 5. If it goes on Instagram, you should have at least 2 posts a day going on Instagram, because on Instagram and Twitter. Why? Because the news feed gets changed so rapidly that it's not like Facebook. Facebook shows you things that were written a day ago or 2 days ago that people still reply to or have been sharing or whatever. So going viral on Facebook would be much easier than going viral on Instagram or Twitter. So if you want something to go viral on Twitter and Instagram, you should talk about it. You should use the right hashtags for it. But this is something else. This is just to get your point across. Good content equals something that people identify with. If people are unable to identify with your message, whatever it is, your content is shit. Excuse my French, but yes, your content is shit. People don't like content that makes no sense. They would read one article, 2 articles. They might like the amazing pictures behind them, like a good creative in general. But these people would never come back. They will not follow you. You would need to acquire new clients every day because you lose every client you already have. So the user acquisition here, the churn rate would be 75%, 80% within a couple of days. That's just bad content. That's bad marketing in general. And this is something that you should never, ever be an advocate of. You should always think about your content beforehand. Read stuff. Listen to people. Watch television. But watch things that people like. Don't watch things that have become cliches, like Game of Thrones, for example. I see those memes all day long. Who cares? For Christ's sakes. People get desensitized. Okay? They watch television. They watch the show. They watch this. They watch that. Okay, so they have a clickbait of some sort. They'll have one of the actresses or one of the actors show whatever. But at the end, your content is not interesting. People would not read it. And that's the difference between having 150 likes, real likes, on a single post and having maybe 2. Maybe not even a single one. You'll have a full discussion with the same person. So it's not even a discussion, it's a dialogue. You're not here for the dialogue. You're here for the discussion. Okay? You need people asking you questions. You know you have good content when people don't even like your posts but contact you privately and asking you for favors or asking for your services. Once people ask for your services, that's user acquisition. That means someone has read some of your content, agreed with it, but that person just doesn't want to tell you that they agree with it, publicly. That's like the most important thing. Now, good content equals good reputation management as well, right? So reputation management in general means that you have the same message sent across all channels all the time. Okay? Now, for example, I'm a very blunt person. Everyone here at Happy News is a very blunt person, and that's amazing because sometimes people need to hear the cold hard truth in their face. Okay? Someone needs to get that in their faces. That's how it works. Okay, people? You can't just lick ass all day long. It's not how it works. Okay? Sometimes you need to tell the client, look, you're wrong. Okay? You can write it in a post. You don't have to use names, but you need to get your point across. If you liked this episode 2 here, please write your feedback below. Tell me what you want to talk about next week, next Monday, 3 p.m. GMT plus 3. Okay? See ya.